What's going on, Stim Junkies? Hi, Stim Ace here, and today I have my good friend from Premium Supplement Reviews, my brother from another mother, Harry. What's going on, brother?
Hey man, I've been doing all right so far. I want to say I've been doing great, but it's that time of the year where we get these like flu symptoms and a lot of congestion. So it's been difficult to, maintain the same regimen with the gym, but still gotta keep going and still gotta keep up with the reviews as well because I'm not up there like you with, you got multiple reviews coming out, but I'm trying to catch up to the ones that I have to do. And you,
Yeah,
Ace, how
man.
are you doing?
So yeah, literally on the same boat as you, bro. It's starting to get cold over here. Literally, what's today? Today is Sunday, right? Last week, Sunday, I went biking
Hmm.
with my friend Mike. I don't know if you saw my Instagram story. We went biking over here in Brooklyn. I have like a secret spot. It's like an abandoned military
Yeah.
base. We've been going there together since we were in college, like 13 years ago. It's like our secret little spot. It's
Hmm.
completely abandoned. We go biking there, and there's people that also like fly droids over there. But it was literally like 83 degrees, sunny. I was biking in my tank top. I freaking put tanning oil on my shoulders and like my upper back to catch a little color because I'm like, this is literally the last of the season right now. So I might as well catch a bit of color before we're going into full fledged winter mode. And here we are today. It's 58 degrees. It's windy as hell. It's raining. It's gloomy. It's a lazy kind of day. But you know what? It's October. It's spooky season. So I figured we're going to come on here, have a little conversation, talk about our fitness journeys, where we've been lately, supplements, pre-workouts, a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of horror movies,
Of
obviously.
course.
We're just going to kind of shoot the shit a little bit. It's been a while since we got to have a conversation.
Yeah, I definitely say it's been a while. Like even though we keep in touch, like I think it's like on a weekly basis. We always check in on each other. Sometimes it's like 2 or 3 weeks, just because I know like you're dropping reviews like like every day. Like I remember it was like last month. It was like a straight like 2 weeks that you were just on it, and I was like, let me not bother Ace because I know he's in the zone. So yeah, but it's kind of for me. I want to start off with like like you said with the fitness journey and all that, and I literally have been like going up and down in weight, and I know like it's at your own fault sometimes because you kind of like, hey, let me eat a little bit here, or whatever. But the regimen has switched because I did have a coach originally a couple months ago. Gave me a great diet plan, great fitness plan. I'm still following it. It's just had to take a little bit of a step back because of the congestion and everything. And I don't want to get anybody sick at the gym either. So it's kind of a little difficult.
Six
But the
feet,
strength,
6 feet,
huh? Yeah, yeah. Especially yeah.
6 feet.
Now with a lot of people acting like Karens out here, I'm gonna be straightforward. But apologies for my dog. It's just too many people come around here, and my dog is very protective. But regardless, yeah, like coming back to the gym, I have got stronger. Like I hit a PR just on the curl bar. Like I hit 70 on the curl bar. For me, that's kind of big. So, it's just I think I forgot the exact name of it, but it's basically 70 just on the curl bar. I'm happy. I'm hitting that. Just all around. I'm doing the 5 day split, so every day I'm doing something like from Monday to Friday, and trying to stick to the diet as much as I can. And initially, the first time I started the diet, I dropped 10 pounds straight off. So that's like when you hit me up, you're like, "Hey, Harry, you're looking kind of lean." That was like right on point when the diet started kicking in. But yeah, now, like I said, I took a little step back, but now coming into the following week, I'm gonna be eating more fruits than anything, just because that's gonna help me like cleanse out all these like toxic, like and all that sickness that I have. But I don't know like what remedies you follow when it comes to like you dealing with like congestion and all that, and trying to keep up with the gym.
So I usually, and it's funny because Trump literally just made a whole thing about it, as did RFK Jr., about Tylenol, right? They said there's a link to autism. Tylenol's been my go-to for a long time. So shit, maybe I'm half autistic at this point. Who the hell knows, man? But Tylenol's always been good. I don't abuse it, obviously. I take it as
Mm.
necessary. But usually a lot of vitamin C, a lot of citrus, stuff like that. My mom has this old school remedy. She's Polish, so it's like an old school remedy. It's going to sound a little nasty, but I swear it's not as disgusting as it sounds, and it actually helps. So I'm sure you've had like hot milk with honey at some point, right? Like when you were sick, when you're a kid, I don't know. So I literally, I have that, but my mom says chop up some fresh garlic. So milk with chopped garlic and honey.
Ooh,
Sounds nasty, but it's actually not that bad. It's really not that bad. And it does seem to help a little bit, but in general, I take the vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc. They have these packets that come with all that stuff. It's like $20 for, I don't know how many, like 18 packs or whatever, but I take one every morning. And it is what it is. I've accepted the fact that every winter I get congested, I get sick, I have an irritated throat like I do now. It's just the reality of it, and it's funny because the older I get, the more I like the winter, the less I can tolerate the heat from the summer. But for some reason, the winter doesn't like me back. It's a one-sided type of relationship. And, I get sick every winter no matter what. So it is what it is, man. But got to keep rolling with the punches. Now, in terms of pre-workouts, because we were talking a little bit about the gym, I've obviously been dealing with this like on and off partial labrum injury, which is a real pain in the ass. But, I take the good pre-workouts and I power on through. Little funny story about today. So I just got in some Dark Labs yesterday. They sent over the new Crack Barbarian, right? This one here.
Yeah.
And this is the new formula, the reformulated version. So the previous one, had that DMBA. It just had you like super buzzed and floating and crazy. This one, I don't know if you've tried Legit Pre V2. Have you tried that one?
I'm ashamed to say I haven't even tried V1, man. Just because everybody was on it when it came out, and by the time I went to Nitro Cartel to get it, it was sold out. And then Jake was like, "Hey, I'm not bringing it back." So it was kind of hard to get. And then V2 came out, and I was like, "I'll get it then." But then it just kind of spiraled into so many other pre-workouts. But to answer your question, I haven't tried neither one. I hope this, what's his name, Gino from Optimal Reviews, he's sending a couple sample packs my way. He's like, because I sent him some stuff earlier, so I think he's gonna throw that in there as well. So maybe I can drop a review on that with the sample packs. But yeah, I haven't tried those out. And from your experience, what you think is the best one, like the original one or V2?
So when it comes to Legit Pre, V1 literally felt like crack purple to me, and I believe I was one of the first few people that reviewed it like a year and a half ago, whatever it was that came out, because I saw them on Instagram, and their logo, the way they put the logo and everything was very reminiscent of that old school Dark Labs. And I reached out to the guy, he's a Polish guy, his name is Marek, Polish guy, and I freaking started talking to him in Polish, so we made the connection. He sent a tub my way. I do believe that I was the first reviewer that reviewed the original Legit Pre, and then it kind of got popular. That review blew up, and everybody else got it, and then whatever, they reformulated it, which, by the way, the reformulation was still top tier. And you could always hit me up and I'll send you whatever. I have so much shit over here to send. But my point is, what I was trying to say, that this new Barbarian that I ran today reminds me a lot of Legit Pre V2, like literally almost identical to Legit Pre V2, which is a good thing. The original one, like I said, was more of like that illicit head buzz, borderline like illegal feeling at certain points. But this one is just more of like a crazy energy kick. And it kind of makes sense because it's called Barbarian, right? So when you're thinking Barbarian, you're thinking like a savage brute that's about to kick your ass and, just aggression. You're thinking about like heavy metal, aggression, barbarian, stuff like that. Meanwhile, the original version was like very floaty, very head high, and just felt like a trip in a way, So the new one, it actually makes more sense. It's called Crack Barbarian, and you're actually feeling like a barbarian while you're on it. It starts off pretty slow for like 30, 35 minutes, but then it just like that alpha yo comes in. It's like the delayed alpha yo, man, like in Hypermaxed. I don't know if you ever ran Hypermaxed, but it's a very similar feeling to that.
And that's a great point that you bring up, because there's not a lot of pre-workouts that you can say that is very comparable to the original Crack OG Purple Tub, which I felt like, I still say to this day, I felt bad that I sold my sealed one, but it was for a good cause, because I sold it to I don't know if they haven't done any reviews lately, but they've done they do Spanish reviews.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're Colombian. I know GGH sent them like a Maniaco when Maniaco first
Oh,
came out.
the duo. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know
yeah, the
them.
duo. Yeah, they got the OG Symbiote from me. I had one of those tubs, and then they got the Crack OG sealed, and I think also, if I'm correct, it was like another pre-workout. They got three from me, and the funny thing was that I didn't know that they were doing everything in Colombia, like all their reviews, because they have like their own gym, everything over there. But they have family here in DC, so that's like where I ship the stuff to. And then there, I was like, hey, when you're gonna, do you need anything else? And they were like, no, we can't get through customs, and that's another thing. So it's like they have to come to the U.S., have somebody, do them the favor, and then I'll bring it to Colombia for the reviews. And afterwards, I think they were doing like fucked up and like low tier pre-workout reviews because that's all they can do until they come back to the States. But regardless, that's where that tub went to, if anybody was wondering. Because a lot of people were hitting me up because I told them, hey, I still have another tub sealed. But yeah, that's a great pre workout. And I feel like I miss it, honestly, just because the first time I tried it, oof, that thing took me for a ride, and it's crazy. But what did you take today? Because you told me you were hopped up on
Yeah,
something.
no. So
Or,
today I took that Barbarian. That's literally what happened today. Was I went to
yeah.
the gym. I got there like at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I took it. And like I said, I waited about 30, 35 minutes. It started building slowly, right? It wasn't like slap in the face. We have a comment here before I continue from You Gotta Be a
Mhm.
Freak, friend of the channel. Shouts out to you, my brother. He says Crack Barbarian and Legit V2 have the same manufacturer. Well, there you go. That actually makes a lot of sense. Okay, I'm sure he has a lot of insider information, so I'm sure that is correct, and that makes a lot of sense. It literally feels almost identical to Legit V2, and like I said, that's a good thing. I still
Mhm.
have my Legit V2 that they sent me, so I actually barely touched that one, but it feels very similar, maybe with like more of a head buzz, but it's crazy. I still feel it now, by the way. But what happened was today I went to the gym, I trained for about 40 minutes, and then I had a situation I had to take care of, and like I had to dip out of the house, I had to make some phone calls, go to some places, and literally that was like at the peak of the alpha yo coming in. So the alpha yo's like I'm like itching to go, and I had to deal with all this stuff. And long story short, everything's okay, but like it's already 4 o'clock right now, so what is that, like 6 hours, and I'm still kind of like a little tweaked out already.
Yeah, I see
So
your fingers moving a little bit. Yeah.
it's a crazy one. So definitely the next time I run it is going to be probably Tuesday or something. I'll try to have the review out for like Wednesday or Thursday because I usually like running things twice minimum before I review it. But we have a question here from our buddy. Speaking of Gino Optimal Reviews, what's up, brother? He says, hey guys, I got a sample of 424 Excelsior and 525 Thermal Spark in the same pill. Should I YOLO both of them in one go? No, I would not recommend that. I would not recommend that, my friend. I'll do you one. I'll do you one even more. I've never combined like two different types of thermal sparks together. Like I got numerous different batches, and
Mhm.
I've never combined like one and one. I've never done that. The only time I ever did something similar with Excelsior was my very first ever review when I rebranded the channel from Isaac Self and Fitness to High
Yeah.
Stim Ace. My very first review where I was in the living room and the setup was so ghetto looking. I had the two tubs of Excelsior, one that I
Yeah.
got on eBay and one that I got, I think it was at Eva's, if I'm not mistaken, or Predator. I don't remember what it was. I think it was Predator. But one was 1025, one was 1125. And the 1125, the one that I spent like $200 for on eBay, it didn't really hit. Like it gave you a nootropic focus, which was nice. So it was something you could like take to work on one scoop and you have like a good
Right.
productive focus, but zero energy, like zero high. And what I did was I would take like a scoop of that and then mix it in with half a scoop of the 1025 that I got from Predator, which that one did hit. So that was
Wow.
the only way because I had to like go through that tub. I wanted to kind of finish that tub and then just focus on the good one afterwards, So that was the only time, but I wouldn't mix it. Would you mix stuff like that, Harry?
Honestly, no. Just because, like for me, after doing so many reviews and speaking with, like the owners of each product, you got number one, you got to take in consideration that each ingredient is dosed at a specific level to kind of trigger the other ingredient, if that makes any sense. That's in the ingredient profile. So then, if you're mixing those ingredients with something else, especially like these two, like like how you say a bathtub formulas kind of thing. You don't know what you're gonna get at the end of the day. And even myself, I'll give you a perfect example. Me thinking, hey, I want to do the best of both worlds. You remember when like Panda had Panda Rampage and then Panda Goblin Juice just came out? I had both, and I was like, hey, let me do half a scoop of this and half a scoop of that, bro. I even with Panda supplements, like you can't take half of one and half of the other one because it kind of just gave like my veins felt like they were gonna pop in my head because of the
Oh yeah.
so much of the head high, like the rush that you were getting. So that's the main reason why I'm telling you at personal experience, it's not good to mix because then you don't know what effects you're gonna get later down the road. And some people might be more sensitive to certain ingredients. So then when you combine them, you might be in for a rude awakening, and it's gonna affect you in the long run. So Gino, please be careful. I know you can tolerate a lot of high stims, but do not mix those two, please.
Definitely not, because when you mix things together, you have to do it in an intellectual way, in a way where it actually synergizes and enhances the experience, as opposed to just let's mix a bunch of shit together and see what's going to land. Like you said, Harry, when these manufacturers manufacture a product that's meant to synergize the way it is, as is. So when you're taking something like that and you're mixing it up with something else, especially from a different company, if you're mixing like one Dark Labs product and then like one product from, let's say, Apollo Nutrition, right? That's a big no-no for me. I never do that. You guys that are watching the stream right now, if you've seen my High Stim Aces Favorite Stacks Volume 2, which just released a couple of weeks ago, that is an example of things that I like to stack together. So for instance, if I take a pre-workout that's very alpha yo heavy, right, that really has me like tweaking out, but it's just physical aggression and nothing else, then I'll pair something like an Araya on it, like 250 milligrams of Araya, take the Extremis Cartel capsule, and that's going to add to that happy element. Or vice versa, if I take a pre-workout that's very happy, but it has like very little energy, I'll put an Alpha Yo capsule on it, or like a thermogenic Molotov or something. You got to be smart about this stuff. This is why they ban shit. I'm not trying to come at anybody, but I'm saying in general, a lot of younger kids, teenagers, young adults, they mix these pre-workouts together and then they end up in the ER or whatever, heart palpitations and stuff. Like I've been there, I've done stupid shit myself. And then, they're going to ban the ingredients. They're going to come after DMAA. They're going to come after ephedrine. They're going to try to come after hordenine and DMHA and all that other stuff. And it's just because people are not responsible. For whatever reason, when it comes to actual drugs, nobody bats an eye. That's whatever. People just kind of accepted the fact that overdoses are just like a part of the reality when it comes to drugs. But yet when it comes to pre-workouts, if one or two events happen, suddenly the ingredient is no longer available, so it's so freaking stupid. But that's why we as a community have to be intelligent about these things, and we have to be smart. It's at the end of the day, it's for your own good. If you want to just get high off of stuff, then you're wasting your money on pre-workouts, so it makes no sense to me.
And the other thing too is that like when you're talking about drugs, like they're not included, like they're not jacked up with caffeine. So like now you got all these ingredients that you're gonna mix in with the caffeine that each company has put in there. So you don't know how much exact caffeine you're gonna be taking that's gonna push all these stimulants in your body and then give you potential, you could get I've heard that people got aneurysms just because of like, mixing too many things. And it's that's the biggest issue for me, because when you stack too many ingredients and then they're pushed by caffeine, it's really hard. Like for me, if you're gonna make something, try them separately. Like when it comes to like capsules, like the what is this Brainstorm. You remember when Brainstorm came out? It's like a great nootropic capsule, but it's not caffeinated.
Yeah.
So that one, I would say that one is a perfect one because it has Araya, Alpha GPC, and Lion's Mate. So great. You got two nootropics and a focus ingredient, which is also a nootropic as well. Then you can stack that with.
Speaking of which, sorry to cut you off because you mentioned nootropics, bro. Look at this thing that they sent to me, man. It's actually
tricky, man.
Bro, this is a crazy label. It's called Heroic Harvest is the name of the brand, and it's called Escape. And bro, it's just like straight up mushrooms on here, man. Happy, but jacked mushrooms at the same time. And this, I think this is something you would probably like. I'll send you a sample of this because it's got like every nootropic mushroom in here. Like it's got lion's mane at 1 gram, cytocholine. It's got also tyrosine, and then it's got like cordyceps. So it's like all the nootropic mushrooms that I know you like because I know you're a big fan of nootropics.
Yeah.
But then they're also giving you two amino at 150 milligrams, which isn't like a crazy DMHA dose. But I think at 150, it's going to work so well. I haven't ran this one yet, but I think it's going to make for a really, really good experience personally.
And I got to say, man, that label, I've not seen anybody on the market create a label like that. So very unique and gives you like that nice like 70s, 80s vibe. Like, or what is it? Like that 70s show? That thing.
Yeah.
That's what I got from it. Like,
for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Our buddy Henry says, I've often mixed products. I have today, but when you mix products without the products having been third-party tested, that's a nightmare awaiting. No, 100%. And in general, you know, you're somebody who's experienced. I know he comments on a lot of my videos, Henry. So he's somebody that's been in the game for a while. Obviously, if you're experienced, you're at this for a couple of years, you know what ingredients do, and then you're still taking a chance in the end of the day. But then when you're going to mix like 2 different pre-workouts, at least you know what you're doing, you know. But a lot of these beginners, you know, they'll try mixing stuff to impress their buddies in the gym, and it's so stupid, man. You know, it's just not good.
And like for me to be like 100% transparent, like I have a couple friends that do like to mix, like they'll do like half a scoop of Hefe with like chaotic rage or something, and I'm like, I can't, like, oh my God. I'm like, because I have so many, like, I know this happens to you, like you have a lot of supplements, so you kind of like, hey, I'm not using his here, just take them before they get, you know, they clump up or whatever. But some, like, I know they like to mix and match, and I'm like, all right, you play mad scientist, but I cannot I can't. Hefe by itself is a beast pre-workout. It doesn't need any DMHA in it at all. So imagine Chaotic Rage, the OG one, with that. So it's crazy. But I'm letting you know that they're still alive. It's just everybody's built a little different because of I guess their tolerance. I don't know what it is, but
for sure, everybody's affected differently by these pre-workouts. You know, when Gino was here in Brooklyn and we hit the gym together, that was on a Thursday, and we had such an awesome workout. We did the Big Bang pre-workout together, and it was great. And then the next day, Friday, he was still here. He wanted to hang out, but, you know, like I had stuff to do. I couldn't hang out. But the night before on Thursday, you know, I gave him a couple of samples, a couple of stuff, and I gave him Excelsior. I think I gave him 8 grams. So I think 6 grams is the serving size. I gave him 8 grams, you know, and he ended up going to the gym the next day. He was in Manhattan, and he ended up going to the gym by himself, and he was so freaking hopped up. He was messaging me on Instagram and freaking like yelling and so excited. He was on one, man. But then our mutual friend Hammerstone, shouts out to Alex Hammerstone, I sent him Excelsior at 9 grams, same batch. He said it didn't do anything for him. It felt like a daily driver. So people react differently. Listen, when it comes to these bunker formulas, man, like whatever analogs they use, certain people react differently to them, you know? So it's what it is. But you know, that's pretty much the gist of that. Guys, by the way, whoever's watching right now, if you want to join the conversation, you're not required to super chat or anything. Leave your comments down below. We're just shooting the shit today, having a fun conversation. You guys want to talk to us about supplements, gyms, pre-workouts. We're also going to talk about pro wrestling and horror movies a little bit later. We're just going with the flow, having a good time. It's raining here. It's gloomy. So leave your comments, guys. We're going to chit-chat a little bit. 1 second, we have a comment here from Wishluck. Do you guys remember the old White Heat pre-workout? That must have been before my time.
I've never heard of that one, honestly. And even in 2010, when I started going back to the gym, I didn't hear White Heat. If you can you describe the ingredient profile by, like, if it has like any specific like ingredients that like stand out to you the most, so we can like get an idea?
Yeah, let us know. Let us know in the comments. We're going through all the comments today. Same user Wishluck says the pre-workout can be good for happy feeling, but the goal is to get a good workout. 100% on the freaking money right there. On the money right there.
Also, since we're on the before we leave the nootropic realm, I do want to like plug in Justin Hall. They know him as Supplement Snoop in the game. He dropped the MyQ Brain Food I got right here, the electrolyte, but this is the powder version. So this one has MyQ Brain Food, the capsules, but electrolytes and a prebiotic as well. And this thing, honestly, like it's a great thing to just take throughout the day for like a great nootropic pre-work, like not even a pre-workout. I think you can stack it with some coffee and you can call it a pre-workout. But for me, I think it's great for brain fog and stuff. So if you love having like if you're having a bad or wake up in a bad mood, just like perfect for that. I just wanted to plug that in there because I've been already taking this for 2 months straight,
Wow.
and it's like for like I'm coming out of pocket for this one just because you get electrolytes, prebiotics, and you get basically brain food stuff for your mind. And I haven't had any like brain fog, even with me being sick. I haven't had any brain fog taking that. So
That's
that's
awesome.
yeah.
I'm actually a funny story. You mentioned him, but I'm actually going to meet him in a couple of days at the Apollon event.
Oh wow. Well, he knows me because we always talk about that. About like what's the new ingredient that he's gonna add to the new formula because he's been working on this one roughly like 8 months or something, and then
Mm.
finally it came out. And also, since he promotes Ghost, I love Ghost, and his buddy, I think, is one of the owners or affiliated with Ghost, so he always puts me onto the new flavors.
Ghost, I'm very mixed when it comes to Ghost,
Mhm,
because I like their energy drinks, right? Again, and I don't drink a lot of energy drinks in
mhm.
general. Despite being high stim ace, I actually don't drink energy drinks that often. It's really, really, really rare. Maybe, bro, I probably go through like less than 20 energy drinks a year. I'm not even exaggerating. I don't really, it's not something I drink. If I'm at work and I want a little pick me up, I'm just going to get a cup of coffee. I like a hot cup of coffee so I could sip on it slowly. I love drinking coffee. I'm a coffee connoisseur. Everybody knows that. So, like to me, energy drinks, they don't really do it for me. And obviously for the gym, I take pre-workouts. So there isn't
Yeah,
really a place for me to consume energy drinks that often. But with that being said, I did try some of Ghost's energy drinks, and they're very, very tasty. Like they have some flavors that are really good. They had the Sour Patch collaboration, which I really
yeah,
like, both the blue and the red. They had the Swedish
yeah.
Fish, which actually tasted very similar to the Sour Patch candy, but I also liked it. And then they had that raspberry and cream, which I really, really enjoyed that one a lot. It was really
Yeah.
good.
I think like
But
when it comes to collaboration with the flavors, they're on point with it.
Yeah, 100%. But when it comes to like their actual pre-workouts and stuff, like I'll be honest, I haven't ran enough of their stuff. I ran their fat burner, which I did give a positive review for. I would
Hmm.
call it like a daily driver fat burner pre-workout, something that you can even stack a little bit of something on it if you want to. But it was solid. The Ghost Legend, I ran a sample of it. It was whatever. It was okay, kind of like C4. I know that GGH liked it a lot, I thought it was okay. Wasn't anything special. So their Ghost is kind of like this brand for me where they're somewhere in between. Like they have their good products, and I'm sure if I dabbled with more of their stuff, I would like it. But again, it's a casual mainstream brand, so it is what it is. Wishluck actually added to the previous comment. He says VPX Redline White Heat was one of the OG DMAA pre-workouts. Tiny scoop and extreme energy and focus. Good old days. Yeah, man. Let us know what year you started taking those crazy high stim pre-workouts on, because I got late to the game. When I started with the crazy stuff, it was literally when Dark Energy came out. But not the original Dark Energy, like literally V2, which still had the goods because they had the flavors named as Research. And I saw on the Review Bros channel, they had the original one, which was just called Bombsicle. It was the only flavor. It came in Bombsicle, and then they quickly reformulated it, and it was just, Orange
Yeah.
Research, Tropical Research, Blast Research. And that's like when I started taking the stuff. So for me, Dark Energy is always going to be like the best memory. It's like chasing the dragon, always trying to get that Dark Energy high. And the two tubs that I have, unfortunately, are way past expired. They don't really hit. They hit at like
Yeah.
20%. So, I keep them just for the aesthetic and because I spent a shitload of money on them. But, they don't really hit the way they used to, which is
And
unfortunate.
talking about OG formulas, for me, like what got me, like when I started coming back into fitness, originally, like in 2010, like I was telling you, was the original craze. I saw that you did a post on the other craze, and I got excited, but I think that was like 2.0 or something. Yeah. I had the original one when it was the purple. I forgot. It was like a grape flavor or something. It was the purple tub. I mean, purple label. And man, I'll tell you what. I at that moment I never took any illicit pre-workout. All I was doing was like Red Bulls or like the red line, the bottle, the red line bottles. But I was only taking
Yeah,
like a third of that, and with a third of that, I was able to do my gym, like my workout, without any issues. But when I tried that out, I was like, I literally was freaking out because craze just took me to another level. Did like we worked out like 2 hours, and we kept going and going and going. And at that time, I think it was like Xbox 360, like Halo was. I think Halo was up to like Halo 3. So I'm like,
hmm
we gotta put this energy to something else. So we went back home, we showered, and we hit Halo hard. Like, and we didn't crash until like the next day because we were up, hopped up just on that craze. And then later on, I forgot which athlete went to like the finals, and he got disqualified because they found out it had meth in it. And
yeah, I
I'm
read
like,
about
my
that.
whole gym, my whole gym was on this, bro. And we literally was getting it from the vitamin shop down the block. So it was just like after that came out, vitamin shop cleared the shelves, but we had one of our buddies who worked there who still had like he was like, hey, we still got a box left. I can let y'all guys have it. But once it was gone, yeah, that it was gone. But it's an experience that I could say my brother and my friend that lives here in Georgia, they would literally take the full serving. I was a little scared at that time, and I would only go half a scoop. But at half a scoop, you still were feeling it 100%. It gave you endless energy, and it was it was up there with. And the other one that I would say was the Oxy Elite, I think it was called. It was like these capsules, and I thought it had endless energy. I didn't even know what DMHA was or DMAA or anything like that. That was in the capsules, and my friend was just like taking two like they were candy, and he wouldn't sleep, he wouldn't eat. It was like he lost so much weight on those, but I was like, it doesn't seem healthy, so I just took it once. Uh, didn't know why I was feeling that way because I was brand new to those ingredients. So then I was like, let me just stick to regular pre workouts, and that's when I actually found Ghost. But that was when Ghost had Alpha Yo in it. Now
Ooh.
it doesn't have it, so that it slapped a little different back then. But those were like the three, like those were like the two OG formulas that from back in the day that hit hard, man.
Isn't it crazy that they literally used to sell this shit in like CVS and Rite Aid? Like they used to sell Stacker 2 everywhere. And back then I remember it had ephedra in it before they removed it. And they
Hmm.
literally used to sell Hydroxy Cut, Hydroxy Elite. They used to sell that shit in Rite Aid, and like I was a kid at the time, and then like a teenager, whatever, but I wasn't into fitness back then. So I missed out. And in general, like like I said, when I came on the scene to the high stim illicit game, it was around dark energy time, right? And it was already kind of starting to go down. You had crack with 120 DMAA. So it was literally like the last of that goated era, but I came to it too late. So I missed out on Craze. I missed out on the original Mesomorph. I missed out on the original Jack 3D. I missed out on pre-workouts such as Air is White, Air is Titanium, those original formulas, Leather Phase, a lot of the stuff that TJ reviewed, and shouts out to TJ, the OG godfather of high stim pre-workouts. I used to watch his channel religiously, and TJ would always review these freaking bunker formulas. And, I even watch his videos now. Like, I'll watch videos from like 6-7 years ago that he uploaded because it's all these pre-workouts that are long gone. Like I said, Leather Phase, Eras,
Yeah.
all those crazy ones. And man, it just gets me so nostalgic. Even though I wasn't there, I still feel nostalgia. It's freaking crazy, man. But oh my God, when I took that dark energy for the first time, like I was very naive, when I got the tub and I got
Yeah.
it based on TJ's review, it
Uh
said
huh.
for research purposes only. Now I was just starting out, I was naive, I didn't know. And I really thought I was going to die by taking it. Like, am I supposed to take this? Because it smells like it's edible, but it says not for human consumption. Like, I didn't know about this loophole, and I ended up taking it. And that was in the Planet Fitness days before COVID, like 2018,
Yeah.
2019. And bro, when I tell you I felt happier than I felt in my life, like I was on ecstasy or something. I was just smiling ear to
Yeah.
ear and just like the music sounded so good, man. I was listening probably to like some Nightcore or something, just like some high energy dance music. And I was just like, bopping on my way to the gym. I had the best workout of my life, and I'm telling you, ever since then, I'm still chasing that dark energy high, bro. There's nothing like it. We have a couple of more comments here from our buddy Wishla. He says, I started in 2015. So he started right before, like I said, I started around 2018-ish, something like that. So he literally got in right before then. So all the good shit that I missed out on, probably Wishla got to try. Tell me if you've tried Era's Wide and if you've tried that other one, the Leatherface. I heard so much good stuff about that one. He said, I started in 2015, missed the original craze, but tried all the other OG DMA priests. Okay, so there you go. Okay. Comment here from Optimal Reviews. I'm not going to address that. Not going to touch that one with a 10-foot pole. Not going to touch that one with a 10-foot pole. Be safe. Just be safe. All I'm going to say.
6 feet away, man. Stay 6 feet away.
6 feet. Bro, did you ever watch that South Park episode, the COVID episode, where Cartman was he had the 6 feet stick, and he's like, 6 feet, Mom. 6 feet, Mom.
They always that show always gets me. Right. And for me, I love when they do that. When they make fun of real life stuff, because it kind of eases it off. But the other episode that stuck with me too was the Lord of the Rings one that they did
with the porn DVD.
That one was pretty cool. But I want to come back to what you were saying, Stacker 2 and all that. And mind you, when that first came out, when it had the ephedra and all that, you remember when WWF was pushing it, Triple H was on the top.
Yes.
So for me, as a younger kid, I'm in my teens, and I'm overweight, and I'm because my dad, I never knew I was overweight. My dad always had soda there on the table, a 2-liter Coke every day, religiously. We always ate more than we should. But us watching, WWF, and we see the commercial, Triple H is all jacked and everything. I'm hey, I want to get like him. So I literally went to the local grocery store. They had, how they used to sell them, the 2-pill pack. I was hey, let me get one of those. And he was do you know what that does? And I'm my favorite wrestler is taking it. I want to take it because, mind you, I'm a little kid, and I just want to get jacked. And I don't know that thing is just gonna warp my mind. But the good thing, the guy in the store was no, you have to be 18 and older for you to take that. So imagine how much wrestling was, influencing me getting into fitness without me even knowing it, just because I want to look like my favorite wrestler. You get me?
So 100%, man. Bro, I miss those days so much, man. There was such an edge to wrestling during that time, Attitude Era and that early Ruthless Aggression era. First of all, there was always rock music or metal music or new metal music. Man, when I tune into the product now and they got that hip hop and the dance music, it doesn't fit the vibe. I don't know. To me, wrestling's always been about metal, about rock, edginess. I don't know. It just doesn't really. I hate that, bro. What was that WrestleMania? Fiend, right? What was that? Was called Fiend.
Oh my gosh!
Fiend.
What's that rapper? The one that came in at WrestleMania to help Travis Scott. Yeah, there you go.
The Satanist.
I don't get it. And that's another thing that kind of pissed me off, because he looks high all the time. So how can you expect somebody to come into a professional wrestling ring and make and be part of a storyline when you obviously know he's not all there? Especially, he looked high as hell, especially after hitting Cody and stuff that day. And Backlash. I was just,
bro, honestly, when I saw him come out, I saw how high he was. He reminded me of Jeff Hardy in Victory Road in TNA, straight up same vibes, just walking slowly, almost wobbling, just looking around, just looked lost. And maybe we could talk about that a little bit, because we are supposed to talk about wrestling here. Guys, by the way, whoever left questions, I'm seeing everything over here. I promise we will address everything. I'm just kind of trying to go with the flow, but I promise you guys, if you left a question, we will address it, all right? So don't go anywhere. But the whole storyline, let's talk about that for a little bit. John Cena's heel turn, The Rock basically wanted to take Cody's soul. I love The Rock as a character. I don't care about him as a movie actor. I think he's overrated as a movie actor, but I've always been a fan of his as a wrestling fan. I grew up with the Attitude Era, Nation of Domination, and then Rocky, and then all that stuff, the Hollywood Rock, which I really liked. But every time he came back to the WWE, there was this big buzz. And 2 years ago on WrestleMania, when Cody finally won the belt, you know, and there was the whole storyline with him and The Rock. He beat The Rock in that tag team match, and then he went to beat Roman the next night. Like that was great storytelling, you know. And I'm somebody who criticizes WWE regularly, and I'll say that was amazing storytelling. But then The Rock came back. They did this whole thing where he wanted Cody's soul. He wanted Cody to turn heel, and literally he fucked off. Like the next week, there was no Rock. There's no mention of The Rock. There's no Instagram posts from The Rock. To this day, they never addressed it. And then Cena had to like kind of, you know, turn heel, and basically they shifted the entire focus to him. It was so poorly done. And I'm sure there's some backstage shit that went on, and you know, that's why they haven't talked about it at all. But what a freaking dropped opportunity, man. What a missed opportunity. I feel bad for Cena. You know, I feel like he had no direction in his retirement run ever since then.
And the way, like, for me, I'm just like, I'm just trying to find the correct words without, like, you know, cursing, and, you know, because I'm a wrestling fan, and, like, you know, you get sucked into the stories, and you're like, okay, we got The Rock last year. He got involved with Roman. You know, okay, he did a great tag team match that fit that kind of fit the mold. I'm like, maybe him coming back and John Cena turning heel and joining The Rock kind of will give us that Rock and Cena moment if he goes from the heel back to, you know, the good John Cena at the end of the year, which we're coming up to right now. So I was like, okay, this looks good. Cody probably was supposed to turn heel. He was like, I don't want to. So that's another issue there. And then Cena turned heel. But for me, it's just like it left me with a bitter taste in my mouth at WrestleMania when he didn't show up. He didn't say anything on Twitter or anything like that, not drop anything. They're still promoting his movies. They're still promoting him everywhere else, doing everything but wrestling on the wrestling show. So for me, it was just like he kind of gave the middle finger to the wrestling fans. It's like I'm all Hollywood. I'm already a multi-millionaire heading to the billies. Like, no, I don't need to come back and do this. And I felt like now with John Cena, it kind of left them high and dry. And like now, the only thing he can do is turn good. Like, what else is he gonna do? Like, because him being healed, it still wasn't going through anyways, because people were still cheering him. But what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts is that when it comes to WWE, especially in the modern era, they don't really make the moments as much as they used to. Like back in the day, it wasn't about the matches per se. It was about the moments, you know, the things you remember, like Undertaker throwing Mick Foley off the Hell in a Cell. You know, that's a moment, you know, or Austin stunnering McMahon for the first time. That's a moment, right? In this day and age, they have the ability, if they put their mind to it and they put in the effort, which they don't because they're lazy, but when they actually put in the effort, they could still make the moments. But here's the problem. They don't know how to follow up on the moments. And I'll give you a couple of examples. So going back to like 2014 or 2015, when Sting debuted in the WWE, this guy was the last soldier of WCW. There were so many opportunities to bring him in. They didn't. He held off. And then finally, I think it was 2014, right?
Around there, yeah.
It was around that time. He came in, bro. When I tell you that my inner child came out when I watched that live, and I had goosebumps like literally on my arms when he came out with that music. And even though there was no logical sense to that moment because Dolph Ziggler was just laying in the ring dead for like 25 minutes. So if you try to break it down logically, it didn't make sense logically, but you didn't even care because it was such an epic moment. He's coming there with the face paint and the trench coat and the bat. He hit the Scorpion Death Drop, got Ziggler on for the cover, 1, 2, 3. That was a moment. How did they follow it up? Terrible. We don't need to get into it, but it was terrible. More recently, they bring back Brock Lesnar right after him being gone for almost 2 years. You know, because of the whole Vince McMahon situation. We're not going to get into that. But they brought Brock Lesnar back. He looked great, bro. He looks like he would have eaten the 2003 version of himself. Like, he looked freaking crazy, man. And he comes back. He does the F5 on Cena. Wow, that's an amazing moment. But what did they do? Did they follow up on it? No. Monday Night Raw, you're tuning in the next day to see if he's going to be there. No mention of it even. And then it wasn't until a couple of weeks later that they had him come on again. But you got to strike the iron while it's hot. You know what I mean? In general, life advice for anybody, if you're doing something, side business or whatever, if you're doing something and you have momentum going, Don't push it off. Don't wait till next week, next month. You got to hit the iron while it's hot, because once that moment passes, people just, you're not going to care anymore. So that was always my issue with WWE. Now, talking about the Cena heel turn, that was a great moment. Despite all the bullshit and all the backstage stuff that happened leading up to it, all things considered, it was still a good moment. There was a shock factor to it. It was exciting. People were talking about it, which today, nobody talks about Monday Night Raw come Tuesday, unless you're, a reviewer on YouTube. People just aren't talking about it at work or whatever. It's not the cool thing anymore. But you had Cena turning heel. That was cool. That was iconic. And it was lame, bro. He just came out. I don't even think he came out the next day. It was like a week or two later. And then he was just talking about how the fans let him down. It was so generic, bro. A freaking 5-year-old could have written that story. And it's just a missed opportunity. And then they turned the back face, which, okay, I get it. It's his retirement tour. But, man, they really just don't know how to follow up, bro.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Is like with coming back to like what you said with Brock Lesnar, it's like he showed up a month later, literally like 4 weeks passed without nothing. And we're like, okay, is this dead? And then he comes out, he's like, I'm here to challenge John Cena, knowing John Cena's not there. So we're not even getting John Cena face to face with Brock Lesnar. And then out of nowhere, they just booked the match. And then the pay-per-view comes, and then we get the match, and then Cena loses. We don't get nothing on Raw. And then yesterday we got AJ and Cena because of a tweet that the fans wanted to watch AJ versus John Cena before John Cena retires and AJ retires next year. So I'm like, where is the storyline? I feel like it's just really lazy. They're just chasing like the hype or the pop that each wrestler brings, just because like AJ Styles, he has such a great career that he's already popular. Like he could lose or win, and he still could show up on Raw and people would cheer for him. So it's like that's what they're doing. Okay, nobody hates none of these guys, so let's just put them there, and no storyline built around them. And I bet you we're not even going to hear from Brock Lesnar until maybe a year from now, if that. I don't even think he's in the I don't know what's happening. Like,
bro, can I be honest with you, man?
Yeah.
I watched some of the pay-per-view from yesterday, the Crown Jewel in Australia. Yeah. I didn't watch it live because I went to the gym in the morning. But then when I came back, like around 3:00, I made some food, whatever. Me and my girl watched it. We skimmed through a bunch of matches. Bro, I skipped the entire Cena and AJ match till the very end. I had zero interest in it. And I know it's blasphemy because, I heard they put on a 5-star match. But again, I need to have emotional investment. I'm somebody that likes reading psychological thriller books. I'm reading a series right now called One of Us is Lying, which was, they made a show on Peacock, 2 seasons on that show, and I actually watched it. It had a lot of woke stuff in it, but, I just kind of tried to disregard it because the story was very interesting. Mm-hmm. There was a murder, and it was really good storytelling, kind of trying to guess the entire show who it is. They show you different POVs, and you're kind of trying to piece the pieces together. I like that kind of writing. I love that kind of stuff. I'm a sucker for psychological thrillers and stuff like that. So I'm literally reading the series right now, and I finished book 2, which, by the way, the books are completely different from the movie, from the show. But I just finished the second book, and I'm getting to the third one. And just the writing, the way everything intertwines and comes together, it's just so amazing. You could tell that the writer put so much thought into it, that there was storyboarding and whatnot. And WWE does not have that, whether it's because they're lazy, whether it's because they have too much products on TV currently and they just have to write it out and they're phoning it in. I don't know what it is, man, but what pisses me off is that they have the ability to do good stuff, because again, they still do have moments here and there. They're far and few in between, but they still have these good moments, but then they just don't know what the hell to do with it. And it's so freaking lazy. And that really is what frustrates me.
I get you. And I think it is too many shows, just because you got Monday Night Raw, you got NXT. Wednesday, I think they do Evolved or whatever. Then Thursday they're doing now the TNA collab with NXT. So then that's another person who has to write storylines and get approval from creative. Then Friday you got SmackDown. Saturday, if there's an NXT or a regular pay-per-view, then you got Sunday that LFG show, whatever it is, that it's bringing up new wrestlers. It's almost what is it, like the Nexus thing that they did back in the day.
Back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, so it's that right there with Taker, Bully Ray, and I think Taker's wife, because they took out Mickey James for Taker's wife. I don't know why, but regardless, maybe it's just because she wanted to do something in the show. And then aside from that, they just acquired AAA Wrestling, so now they're in Mexico doing stuff with Conan, and then they got to prove stuff down in Mexico. So it's a lot. They're doing so many things that is just, I feel like um, they're spreading themselves way too thin to give us some great storylines.
You know which wrestling show I kind of got into recently, and I think you're going to have a chuckle out of this? MLW.
Okay, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about MLW, okay? Because the only reason I tuned in about a month ago is because our mutual friend Alex Hammerstone, he's a wrestler and he wrestles a lot on MLW. And me and Hammerstone became really, really good friends over the past couple of months. And I even had him on here. I interviewed him. If you guys haven't seen it, go under the live section, watch my interview with pro wrestler Hammerstone. We talked about pre-workouts, pro wrestling, peptides, his time in Japan. It was a really good interview, and definitely super, super humble and down-to-earth guy, despite being freaking massive and having an amazing character. By the way, speaking of a guy who gets it, who knows that it's not just about in-ring work, but it's about character work, freaking Hammerstone, bro, man. The guy really, really gets it. But long story short, I ended up tuning in because he had that, they were streaming it for free on YouTube. And I've heard of MLW. I've never seen anything from them before, but I have heard of them. So I decided to check it out. And I really enjoyed the show. Like, I ended up watching the whole show. And I even hit him up after his match. And I told him, I'm like, listen, I got to give you a little bit of feedback on this. First of all, the lighting is really good in the arena. They found like a perfect balance of not being too bright. And, like WWE in this day and age, it looks too digital. It looks too clean, with all the screens they have on the side of the ring. It just looks so corporate. And there's a turnoff. To me, it's a turnoff because wrestling's always supposed to be about working class, blue collars, families. WWE feels very elitist right now with their ticket prices and all the flashy shit. MLW, like, I love the way the arena was laid out. They had those dim lights, so you could still see everything. It's all well lit, but it had a bit of that grungy feel. The announcers, I thought, were very solid. Never heard of those guys in my life, but I thought they carried the show really, really well. Perfect balance of actually, talking about the show and just having entertaining commentary. And then the matches were great, dude. It was all matches that were relatively short. I hate when matches drag. I hate when matches go through 2 commercial breaks. Nothing turns me off faster than that. These matches were all like 7 to 15 minutes. Which for me is the perfect amount of time to retain my attention span. And it was entertaining. There wasn't a million false finishes, where they're kicking out. Bro, I see some of these clips on AEW and even WWE, bro. They're killing each other. Yeah. And these people are freaking kicking out. Like, bro, it kills the believability for me. I know it's fake. I know it's scripted, but it still kills my immersion. So then I saw the match with Hammerstone. It was a hardcore match. He had like a street fight. I'm forgetting the guy's name, Justice. And it was a sick match, dude. And I'm watching Hammerstone. Me and my girl are watching him. She's rooting for him. I'm rooting for him. And, here's somebody that I talk to on Instagram almost every day, man. We've become really close. And, yeah, man, he's a freaking badass pro wrestler, and I really liked it. So then they had another show about a week ago where he faced Matt Riddle, another character who I always really liked, by the way. I know he comes with his baggage and controversies. I get that. But he's a very entertaining character. So they had a great match. And, then they turned Riddle heel, and they started embracing his asshole side, which apparently, is kind of him in real life. And there was a couple of other surprises on that show. I didn't know the card going in. You had Austin Aries on there, which, holy shit, Austin Aries.
Yeah, double A.
Bro, Paul London, man. I was watching this guy in 2003 freaking tag teaming with Billy Kidman, and there he is with a beard and gray hair looking like a wizard. I'm like, what the freaking hell's going on here, man?
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. I enjoyed the show a lot. I know I'm a casual, but I really enjoyed that show. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and honestly, like I like when we would speak, I would always tell you like, hey, I'm watching all these other indie stuff, like all these other indie promotions. Like I watched a lot of MLW when Mance Warner was there, but now Mance Warner, he's on TNA. And I know Mance Warner was there doing a lot of stuff with Jacob Fatu as well. Jacob Fatu was really big in MLW with Zilla before he went to WWE. I know Zilla's still, on the indie scene, but um, MLW does have great matches. And one pay per view that I do like, since we're in the month of Halloween, they do a great Halloween pay per view. I think is I forgot the exact title of the match, but it's Halloween based. Yeah, and they go hard. I believe when I went in, they had like an electric chair. It was like a whole kind of like, it's very different, and I feel like now MLW is coming more into the scene of being more presentable, because before it was just like, hey, they're just trying to get names to get people there, but now it's like they got the names, they got the storylines, they got a better production. Same thing with GCW. They're more on the hardcore death match style kind of wrestling, which is something that if you guys love to see that, you can head over there and watch that. Because right now there's wrestling like almost every single day of the week, depending on what company you want to watch. But coming back to MLW, yeah, there. I did catch the match with Riddle and Hammerstone. I still say to the right now, Hammerstone should have had the pin after that last move. I forgot what it was. I think it was like a spinning power bomb drop that he did.
That was badass.
That combo that he did, like Riddle jumped off of the mat, and I was like, "That's it, it's over." And I'm literally counting 1, 2, 3, and I'm like, I'm going at 3, and Riddle's kicking. I'm like, "Come on, man!" Like that match supposedly.
I'm gonna give you a little bit of inside information, and hopefully it doesn't get me in trouble. And I'm just gonna say a little bit, but that finish was changed last second. I'm gonna leave it at that. Not gonna say anymore, but that finish was changed kind of in the last minute. So yeah, a little inside information, little birdie told me. But one thing I want to say about MLW that I really like is the fact that it's a perfect balance of wrestling, but also entertainment. A lot of wrestling companies today, the problem is they try to pass themselves off as legitimate sports. They're going that MMA route, with the scrums. I know they're not doing the scrums anymore, but they were up until recently. Yeah. Like, bro, you have to understand that pro wrestling, like, obviously it's athletic, and I will not take anything away from those athletes. They can kick my ass any day of the week. But the point is, it's not UFC. It's not a real fight. It is scripted. So you have to lean into the entertainment aspect of it, because that's what makes it different. If you're just trying to be like UFC, obviously you're not UFC, because UFC is not scripted. So you're not UFC. Even now on ESPN, to me, it doesn't seem like a good marriage between WWE and ESPN, because here's ESPN with sports and WWE, which is supposed to be sports entertainment, but they're trying to pass it off as a sport. And then it's like half kayfabe when it comes to these interviews, but it's also half shoot. It's very mixed. It sends a mixed message, and I think that really confuses and turns off a lot of casuals like myself. Meanwhile, you have something like MLW in here, which, obviously the diehard wrestling fans, the people that read the dirt sheets, Meltzer fanboys, all those people, they're going to shit on it because they're going to say, oh, it's a stupid match with the electric chair. Meanwhile, I'm entertained as hell. I'm drinking a beer. I'm watching the match. I'm having so much fun watching this freaking match. It's entertainment, bro. These people take it so seriously, like it's a real fight, and it drives me crazy, man. That's what WWE needs right now. It needs more entertainment. They've tried going down this crazy wrestling route where they go through 3 commercial breaks, doing a long match on a Monday night, and guess what? They're losing ratings every week. So I don't know. To me, I'm just some guy on the internet, but a lot of people feel the same way like I do.
I bet you Meltzer's gonna say they lack base work.
Base work. Oh my god, man, that's freaking.
Yeah, if you don't know where that's from, that's from the brand Vince Russo, because I think he does that, like a breakdown of what Meltzer says, and literally asks Al Snow, like, do you know this word, base work? And it doesn't exist in wrestling, so it's just like, that's why I'm saying lack of base work, because Meltzer just talks out his ass when it comes to anything except AEW, because I don't know what he's doing with AEW. He's getting like a check or something, but he's bringing them over the moon. And talking about AEW, if I could talk a little bit about it, like because I recently went to a show over there in Jacksonville,
Oh
Literally,
yeah. Tell us about the show, bro. How was that experience?
the for me the VIP, I paid for the VIP experience, pretty cheap because you get the VIP, like you get early access. You go in like an hour and a half before. You get a goodie bag, um, and then you get to take pictures in the ring and all that stuff with the championship belt. Now, I would say that that championship belt is the heaviest championship belt I've ever held in my hands. If you've seen the picture, I'm holding it, but it kind of like drags me down because it's really heavy. Like it's well made, so that's why they charging so much for that replica. So kudos to them for making a great belt. But when it came to the entire VIP experience, I felt like it was too rushed because the wrestlers who did come in, it was like whoever paid for that VIP experience, they lined up, took a picture, he left. Next wrestler came in, took a picture. Then we're going back downstairs, going around the ring. Everybody's like boom, 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 rushed. And I'm like, I didn't pay, for rushed work. You get me? But regard. And then also the matches that we did get to see when we watched it yesterday on Collision. Since it's pre-recorded, they put like the first match that you saw. It was really the third match. Matches were great, but it's just like out of order.
They switched the order around.
Yeah, because it's pre-recorded.
Wow.
So that's another thing. And I could have said like a spoiler, like, hey, if you didn't watch, if you're watching Collision, Kota Ibushi got injured, but I didn't say that because I'm like, I want to respect the company because I'm getting early access, so I don't want to spoil it for everybody else who's seeing it at home on Saturday. But regardless, that was something of a great show. But I would say that they need to do a little bit better with the seating, because the seats were like actual chairs, like regular chairs. It wasn't like anything, special. You were kind of bunched in with other people. So that was annoying. And for me, I expect that from an indie show. Like I went to AAA, a AAA indie show here a couple weeks ago. Like the tickets weren't too expensive. Like I think it was like $90 to sit front row. But the seats were like you're clumped in. So I'm like, okay, that's an indie show. I expect that. But this is AEW. I expect to be a little bit more spacious if I'm paying up for front row seats. But that hasn't happened to me when I did the WWE experience. So there is a plus and minus to it, but I'm not paying WWE prices at all. I went to a WWE show and paid the VIP package when it was reasonable. Same amount that I paid right now for AEW. That's what I'm saying. So all around, it was a great experience at the AEW Collision that we went to, but it could be a little bit better. And also, it was too damn hot over there because it's open stadium, and I literally was catching almost like a heat stroke, man, just because it got to like 90 something plus the humidity.
Where was this? Florida?
Yeah, Jacksonville, Florida. So imagine you're sitting down there watching a show and you're like drenched and just hot and yeah. So it's like it's a lot of minuses compared to the plus that you're getting. But regardless, I'm a wrestling fan, so I will stick with them. Still had better matches than what happened on Raw or SmackDown. So that's what I'm telling you right now. That AW right now has a better product when it comes
Hell
to
yeah, brother. Bro, I got a question here. Jim, bro, can you show your Pokemon collection? Do you have a Pokemon collection?
Yeah, it's right here. Yeah. Oh, I see you got the Sandshrew right there. Yeah, over here on this side, this is a prismatic Sam's Club drop my buddy got me because I'm not a member at Sam's Club, and you got to do the line for that. This is the prismatic one as well from I think 8 months ago. Got a couple Pokemon Center stuff, and the difference between the regular stuff that you can buy in Target and stuff, and Pokemon Center is you have to get it from their website, and it comes it's like a special edition. That's what I'm gonna say when it comes to that. And then I have a whole bunch of over here. I don't know if you can see them, but these are like graded slabs of the cards. Like they're perfect 10 cards. And I have like boxes up here, like big booster boxes. But then like towards the back is like my signed Funko Pop collection that I have from wrestling and Power Rangers, because I did go to Collecticon in Atlanta, and I did have Kimberly and Billy signed my Funko Pops. So it was a pretty great experience there. So I do have, to answer your question about the Pokemon collection, I have a lot. Started with Prismatic, and then moving forwards, like right here, I have White Flare, Black Bolt. Probably Ace is like, I'm out of Pokemon. I don't know.
That is where you're wrong, my friend, because
all right.
I'm a huge nerd, and a lot of people don't know that about me, okay? I still play World of Warcraft almost every single night. Yeah. I don't play it competitively anymore. I don't have time to do raids and stuff, but I still like to play like 40 minutes to an hour a night, so I do that. I watch anime. I'm actually rewatching the original Yu-Gi-Oh series with my girlfriend, who's never seen it before. The OG Yu-Gi-Oh.
Perfect.
Yeah, man. Good freaking stuff, man. It just brings me back to my childhood. We literally used to have local channels over here. I don't know how it was by you. No, but I mean, you grew up in New York City, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you remember the channels 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13. Those were the local channels we had. So I actually used to go to elementary school, and I went to private school, so I didn't get home until like 5:30, 6 o'clock. And I don't know if you remember, but the cartoon block they had on weekdays started at 3 and it ended at 5. It was from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. on channel 11 on WB Kids. So literally when Yu-Gi-Oh! First Pokemon was the big craze, but then when Yu-Gi-Oh! Came out, everybody in my class was like playing the Pokemon games on Game Boy and everything. Everyone kind of shifted over to Yu-Gi-Oh!, myself included. Everyone fell super hard into it. And because I went to private school, I didn't actually get to watch the episodes live. So what my mom did for me, God bless her, she had a blank VHS cassette, and she would tape for me every single day for 2 hours, from 3 o'clock till 5 o'clock. She would tape the entire 2 hours for me on a VHS cassette. I would come home, do my homework, and then watch the cartoons at like 7:30 p.m.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I feel like the lineup that we had back in the day was so great. Like, it's like, for me, you guys, my mom, we used to run. Like, I was so happy that my elementary school was right across the street, so I would just like look both ways, run with my backpack on, and just get into the house, because I knew it was 3 o'clock when I got out, and I had about like 2 or 3 minutes before the intro came in, so I can actually watch the new episode. And yeah, I feel like that's what happened with a lot of people. When Yu-Gi-Oh came out, they just shifted from Pokemon into Yu-Gi-Oh. I literally just started coming back into Pokemon like last December, around there, like when there was like it's called the Surging Sparks set, that it was like, it revolved around a Pikachu, but like with a crown, and like really looked amazing.
I remember seeing something about that. Yeah, I remember seeing something about that.
But now,
in general, those cartoons were freaking amazing.
Yeah. And Yu-Gi-Oh, I think it took over just because of the powers, like the level of energy and all that. Like, it just had more strength, more like how you say, more aggressive looking dual monsters.
It felt more edgy, and as a teenager, it kind of appealed to me, and I was an edgelord. I had the whole emo thing going, when I was 14, 15, 16. So Yu-Gi-Oh definitely had more of an edge to it. But I also, like you, I came back to Pokemon later, like in my high 20s, like 28, 29. I kind of came back to it, and I replayed a lot of like the DS games that I didn't play, because as a kid I played red and blue version, obviously, and yellow version on the Game Boy. And then you had Gold and Silver on the Game Boy Color, which I loved. And then Ruby and Sapphire was Gen 3, and that's where I stopped. That was the Game Boy Advance, and that's where I stopped. And now, as an adult, I'm going back. I got myself a DS on eBay, which, I had to spend a lot of money on, but I actually got a good deal. It was discontinued, but I picked up a DS. My girlfriend got a Japanese DS because she's an even bigger nerd than I am. So,
that's going hard.
But it worked. Yeah, no, but it's sick. It has like the Super Nintendo themed buttons. It's got like the colors of the Super Nintendo, and it's white, so it looks really, really cool. But I've been playing those games. I love those old school games, man. I wouldn't call myself like a modern gamer anymore. I don't really play newer games, but I go back and I play like all the old stuff that I grew up with and maybe stuff that I missed out on. So like the old Final Fantasy games on PS1, PS2, like I love those games till the end of time, you know? And Yu-Gi-Oh! They literally have a mobile game called Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, which I really used to like when it first came out, because it was like the old school game. You know, you had Yugi, you had Kaiba, and it was like the old school stuff. But then what happened afterwards, they started updating it, right? Because it's an online game, it's a mobile game. They're always going to try to update and capitalize on it. And they started adding all these new cards because Yu-Gi-Oh! Evolved a lot over time. And there's like all these crazy mechanics. And it's an entirely different game than what it was when I grew up watching it, you know? So I fell out of it. But yeah, man. I still enjoy watching the old series. I really like it, but in terms of like dueling, I don't really do that anymore, just because, you know, the game changed so much that, you know, I don't really do that anymore. But I want to shift over. I want to talk about our last topic today. We kind of been all over the place today. You're a horror movie fan, right, Harry?
Yes. Where you want to start off at, like Jason, Freddy, or you want to do something like a little bit more?
Well, obviously, I'm gonna start off with Halloween, right? My boy Michael Myers, Halloween, because I freaking am the biggest Halloween fanboy on the planet, and I know that objectively, at least half of the Halloween movies suck ass. I understand that, but I could still have fun watching each and every one of them. Even Halloween Resurrection, which objectively is a piece of shit, but I watched that with my girl, and we were just laughing at it and having such a good time watching that movie. It was freaking incredible, man. Did you watch the Halloween movies?
Yeah, I watched all of them, and I know that they're like different, like they're going different like timelines, because there's like the Rob Zombie version, then you have the original one. So it's like you have to like skip like 1, 3, and then I forgot the order, but each one is part of each timeline. And I would like to say, like, I do like the Rob Zombie versions.
I do too.
A little bit better than the original. Like the first one that he did from the original one, not the second one. The second one I would say is trash compared to the previous one. I think he just tried to outdo himself too much, and then it just became horrible. But again, it's like I love all of them. And for me, I think the one that stood like real, that I liked the character work on it, was the Halloween H2O. Halloween 20, that 20-year-old one.
I love that.
Yeah, that one was pretty cool because we get a little bit of you know, you get the storyline, I felt like it didn't drag too much. Oh,
bro, it's a shirt that my girlfriend got me. It says what does it say over here? I can't see it because it's reversed. My camera's reversed.
Get in, losers. I can't see the bottom though.
Get in, losers. We're lifting or something like that. You got Michael, you got Scream, you got Jason, and I think you even have Freddy in the background. But man, that's an awesome shirt that you get.
And honestly, that was the one that like really stuck with me from the original ones as well. So I love the storylines to that. And what other ones would make your top 5 or top 10 list when it comes to scary movies?
Oh man, it's so hard for me to say because I'm very picky when it comes, even like in general, I'm very picky, you know, when it comes to books, when it comes to video games, to me, story is very important, you know, so just having a horror movie that's about a slasher killing teenagers that are screwing in the camp, like, you know, Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th for me never did anything, despite the fact that I think Jason is one of the coolest, most badass looking characters they ever created in horror. He's definitely an icon, but in terms of story, those movies, go back and watch those early movies, like those first 5, 6 movies, Friday the 13th, bro, they're pretty bad. Like, they're pretty bad movies on an objective level, unless you grew up with them and you have that nostalgia. They're pretty freaking bad. Like, I can go back and watch Halloween a million times over, even the bad ones, and I will always find something redeeming in those movies. Same with Nightmare on Elm Street. Same with Chucky. Obviously, I love Chucky. I'm a diehard fan, although I have a lot to say about Chucky because I love the first 4 movies, and then the series just kind of went straight down after that. But in general, you have to have story, you know, which for me is the most important thing. You need to have emotional investment. If the serial killer is going and killing teenagers that you see on screen for 5 seconds, you're not going to give a shit if they're getting killed, you know. But if there's a story, it makes it more impactful, and that's actually something I liked about Rob Zombie's Halloween with Laurie, the new girl they got playing Laurie Strode in that movie, he killed her parents, and it really emphasized the relationship she had with her parents. And then when he came in and just sliced her dad's freaking neck in like a split second, and then he came after the mom, and she's clutching onto that photo and saying, "No, no, not my daughter." Like, man, that's some good stuff right there. You know, Zombie also doesn't get enough credit. Oh, wait, we got some comments in here. Hold up. We got some comments.
Okay.
All right. So first off, Wish Luck. I love this guy, Wish Luck, bro. Shout out to you, brother. Sinister. He wrote The Sinister, but I think he just means Sinister. Did you ever watch Sinister?
I don't think so, but I've watched so many horror movies. Maybe if you just remind me of the storyline, I might.
Okay, I'm gonna say without spoiling much, because my girlfriend actually hasn't seen it yet, so I don't want to spoil. But basically, it's a washed-up writer who wrote like his last good book about 10 years prior to where the story begins, and he just bought a new house in a different state. He moves there with his wife, and I think he had 2 kids, if I'm not mistaken, a son and a daughter. Yes, and they moved to this new house, and you know, it's like very secluded, it's quiet, it's private, and he wants to start writing. And what he doesn't tell his family is that a really, really gruesome murder happened in that house, right? So that's the premise. And then he basically goes to the attic and he finds these 5 tapes, which are like POV, kind of like, you know, found footage style. Yeah. But each one of those tapes basically is missing something. Like there's a scenario that happens and then it skips something. And then you just see the massacre, like what happens after. So it's like the before and after, but the middle is missing. So you don't know who the killer is. And then in the end, he finally pieces it together. It's like a very story-driven horror movie. So again, that's the kind of shit that I like. Stuff that's story-driven and you're trying to guess the entire time what's going on. Bro, that is such a good movie. I think it came out in 2012. That one is so... You know, I might actually watch that tonight.
Okay,
I might actually watch that tonight.
I haven't seen it yet. But the way you described it, I haven't watched it. But it does remind me of another movie that came out a while back. And... I feel like that one was good too. I think it was called Room 1409.
1408, yes.
1408, yeah, something. Yeah, I knew it was one of those. It reminded me of that storyline, how it went, and you're always like, maybe it could be this, maybe it could be that, but then it's just like at the end, you're like, you just sit back and you're like, okay, I did not see this coming at all, like.
Dude, that movie is amazing. There's a lot of gems also from like the early 2000s. There was actually a movie that Robert De Niro was in, and you know, he doesn't usually do horror movies. He usually plays the gangster, you know. Yeah. But he was in a movie called Hide and Seek, 2002. The little girl that played, I'm trying to remember her name. I'm like, it's at the tip of my tongue. Dakota Fanning. She was a little girl. Dakota Fanning was like 7 or 8 years old in this movie. She was like a little girl. And basically he moves to a house because her mom committed suicide. And they moved to like the secluded cabin upstate New York, you know, to help her heal up. You know, she's a little kid that just went through trauma. And she basically befriends someone and she calls him Charlie. And he's trying to figure out the whole time, who the hell is Charlie? You know, who's this person? Like, he assumes it's an imaginary friend, but then there's things that start happening where obviously there's a physical person doing this stuff. Not going to spoil anything. That's all I'm going to tell you. Another amazing movie. Bro, I love these freaking movies. And we have another comment here.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wish Luck, you're on a roll with the questions, man. Yeah. You want to go first on this one? Because I see you... Yeah.
Okay. Yes. No, because I literally just rewatched this with my girl about a week and a half ago. And just to put it into context, my girlfriend does not like horror movies. Okay. She does not. She's afraid of them. And I've been slowly kind of introducing horror movies that are less intense. So like we watch Goosebumps, you know, which is still like has a little horror factor, but it's more like kid friendly and whatnot. It's not so scary. There's another series that's very obscure from R.L. Stine called The Haunting Hour, kind of like Lost Media. I have them downloaded in like 360p or 240p. So it's like really, really low quality. Yeah, it's like, rough.
You see the little cubes, right? Yeah.
Like, because it's literally like a TV rip, you know, which I pirated and they never remastered it. They never even released it like on proper DVD. I think they only put a couple of episodes on DVD, but it's not the whole thing. So my point is I've been slowly introducing her to like horror movies, upping the intensity as we go. So we did an entire Halloween watch, which was her first time watching all of the Halloween movies, including the Rob Zombie movies. So kudos to her for that, because those zombie movies are pretty crazy. And then I said, you know what? Let's watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The original one from 1974, not any of the new ones that are neutered and with the fancy effects. I'm talking about that original grungy, dark, dingy, freaking practical effect 1974, no filter type of movie, man. Bro, that movie, I forgot how raw that movie is, man. It's so intense, and it's just, you feel dirty after that movie. Like, you have to go take a shower after that movie, man. So it traumatized her a little bit, but I also think it made her a little bit stronger in the process. So we had a good time with it. What about you?
With that one, I would agree. Like, the OG one is kind of like, you kind of always are squinting more than anything, because you're like, but for me, I do like the newer versions, because I felt like, I forgot which version it was, that it was like, he had like a cousin or something that she was helping him, like she didn't know that it was his family member.
I don't think I ever watched that. I don't think I've seen
I forgot which one it was, but in there, like, he kind of protects. He's the protector of the house, basically. So, like, throughout the movie, he's doing his thing, like, chasing down people. But she doesn't know that he's a family member. And then towards the end, she kind of understands him, and she's like, "Hey, you can always stay out here in the house with us." But then he just goes into like the room where the basement is at and everything, and like goes and creates a new face, because that's his thing of wearing a new face for that. But for me, I like the newer versions of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The original one I did watch, but I feel like it's a little bit gruesome compared to the newer ones.
Bro, the 70s were crazy, man. Yeah, unfiltered as hell.
And another one that I would like to touch base on is the Rob Zombie House of 1,000 Corpses. That one got me hooked, and I was like, oof, that one is. And then I think there was a follow-up movie. I forgot the name of it.
The Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, the Devil. Yeah, both of those. I was just like, wow, I love both of them. Like, great work. And
in case people couldn't tell, I'm a diehard horror movie fan, so I know a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So what you got to say about those two movies?
Yeah, Rob Zombie definitely has his own style, which it did bleed over to the Halloween movies. And, certain people had a criticism that it was like a little too white trash, with the dialogue. And I agree with that to a certain extent. But again, like, I don't go into it expecting like Halloween 1978. I knew it was going to be a Rob Zombie Halloween movie, so I was okay with it. And I did like the first Rob Zombie movie also. I like, his childhood, because it was different. It was something different. You see him growing up to be a psychopath. And that guy, Tyler Mane, man, speaking of pro wrestling, that guy could have been a freaking pro wrestler. Freaking 7 feet tall, man. That was the scariest Michael ever. But going back to what you were saying, House of 1,000 Corpses was great. And so was The Devil's Rejects. I know they did a third movie that kind of flopped, like a third part. Came out like, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. I forgot the name of it. But the guy, one of the main guys that Rob Zombie always hires, Sid, I forgot his last name. He always plays like the clown guy or whatever, has like a little beard, taller, skinnier guy. He was like dying. He was dying. Like, he was like, in real life, he was pretty sick. And that was like his last performance. But even from what I heard, people said he was like very out of it and whatever. They had to kind of like record around his schedule. So a little bit of insider information there. But I like zombies movies. It's when you're going into a zombie movie, you have to know you're going into a Rob Zombie movie. It's going to have all the craziness that comes with it. But I want to ask you, in terms of horror movies, have you ever got into like older horror movies, like from the late 60s, early 70s? I'm going to give you 2 examples. Rosemary's Baby from 1968, one of my favorite movies of all time. And then from 1973, The Wicker Man. Have you seen those 2 movies?
I did not see neither of them, but in that era, I did see the original Night of the Living Dead. So the black and white.
Nice.
But I'm going to write it down right here because I'm going to watch
many movies to give you.
Because I saw your face, like, Harry, you got to watch it. You said Rosemary's Baby, and the other one,
The Wicker Man. Just make sure you get the version from 1973, not the 2001 remake, because that one was kind of garbage.
Gotcha.
The reason I like those older movies, especially from the 60s and 70s, is because they were very raw. You know, you can't
Yeah.
replicate that stuff with CGI. Like they were so into practical effects, and you just can't replicate that stuff with CGI. And also just seeing the way the world looked in the 60s and 70s, like especially Rosemary's Baby, it takes place in Manhattan, New
Hmm.
York. So you're seeing Manhattan in the 1960s. You're seeing these old school cars. The streets are super clean. People are dressed
Yeah.
nice. You don't see crackheads there with jeans and flip flops. You know, you're seeing men
Yeah.
dressed with like top hats. Well, not
Yeah.
top hats, but just like hats,
Hmm.
suits. There's a class. You know, it's such a different world than where we're living right now. I live in New York City, full of homeless, full of crackheads. You know, it's just it's not the best place to be, you know, and you're watching a movie from the
Yeah.
1960s and it's like, wow, it's a completely different world, you know. 1 second, wish luck says, I'm going outside now, thank you for the stream, guys. Take care, brother.
No,
We're
no
actually going to wrap
problem.
it up here in a couple of minutes anyway,
Yeah.
so thank you for tuning in. But yeah, man, straight up, those movies are completely different. And The Wicker Man, you got to watch The Wicker Man, bro. I don't even want to spoil anything. Just go into both of these movies blind. Trust
Mhm.
me, you're
Yeah.
gonna thank me. They're freaking amazing movies.
Yeah. And for me, I think like when it comes to the old school movies, um, excuse me, uh, I feel like it's because the people were more presentable. So when the horror happened, it was just a more of a shock factor because you're getting like that normal society, and then you get that break in society that kind of makes you like cringe a little bit. But now it's like society is reflecting what we used to see in the movies, and you're
Yeah.
like, this is every day, and like you see tweakers and all that, and I'm like, that's basically me watching a zombie movie. Like keeping it on with you.
That's a very good point when you put it that way. I didn't even think about that. That's actually a very valid point. You know, mimicking society, what's going on today. That's actually pretty
Yeah.
crazy. We have a comment here from Daniel Lopez. It kind of relates to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You ever take the
Okay.
Leatherface pre-workout? No, we actually spoke about it. I'm assuming you're just tuning in now. We actually were
No.
talking about pre-workouts for like the first 40 minutes of the show. And yeah, Leatherface was one of the pre-workouts I never got to try. And it's funny because the tub has Leatherface from the
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and he looks angry and tweaked out. But I heard it was actually a very euphoric pre-workout. It wasn't like an angry pre-workout. I heard it was a very happy experience. So yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I wish I got
Yeah.
to try that one.
Honestly, anything that has like a great like label on it, like in the sense of, you know, like it had Leatherface and everything, I always would lean towards that because I always value the work ethic that the company puts into like putting in a great label, and then and then you turn it around and you're like, okay, this is the ingredient profile. Like perfect example, like Chaotic Rage. I love that label
Oh yeah,
right there because you got that Insane Clown. Same thing, you know, you get with something from like a Pollen. They always go hard with that. Or what's the other one? Anarchy Labs. I love
oh yeah.
those labels. But yeah, coming back to the horror stuff. For me, I gotta say I'm more of like the newer generation kind of horror fan. So I would say like one of my favorite horror movies would be like Scream. Like every single one, I
I
watched
love
them,
Scream.
never missed them. Love the how like the sense that like the feeling that you get of like he's getting closer kind of, but he and then also it's just the story how it keeps evolving. Like they just don't they don't repeat the same thing. It's always like a new shock factor and a new cliffhanger towards the end of the movie that you're like, damn, now I gotta wait for part 3 or part 4 to come out to get that question answered. So
I'm
what
gonna
do you
tell you
think
an
about
I'm gonna tell you an unpopular opinion in the Scream franchise. Guess which one's my favorite out of all the Scream movies?
that? 4.
Yes. Holy shit! Wow, how'd you know?
I don't know. I guess I talk with you a lot, so I was like, I just ran the like that little 15-second like Click, play,
Wow,
right in my mind, like,
I'm
okay,
very
pause.
impressed. I'm very impressed. Okay, I love that one. I know a lot of people didn't like it, and I
Mhm.
agree with one of the criticisms because they said the lighting in the movie was a little off, especially in the first, like in the beginning where you see Sidney Prescott coming back to town after being away for so long,
Mhm.
and like they were outside during the daytime, and it was like almost like a smudgy glare coming from the sun. It was a weird. I don't know if it was, issues they had or if it was an artistic choice. I'm assuming
Yeah.
the latter, but like I'll agree with that. It did feel like there was a bit of a filter smudge situation going on, and it didn't have the darkness of the first three movies. But in terms of story, again, it always comes back to story with Heist Mace. Whether it's a book, whether it's wrestling, whether
Mhm.
it's anything, it all comes back to story and characters for me. And I love the story of that one. You had the little girl. I
Yeah.
forgot what her name was. The blonde one, bro. She plays like in a lot of horror movies. Oh my
Yeah.
god,
Yeah.
man.
I can't like, I forgot her name, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah. She
Yeah,
adds
yeah.
like
So
a
she
certain
she
aesthetic to it.
basically was like the victim throughout the movie, and then
Mhm.
spoiler alert, guys, it's an old movie. It's been out for 20 years, okay? But it turns out she was one of the two killers because
Yeah.
she basically wanted to be social media famous, and that movie was so ahead
Mhm.
of its time because that was just when social media was starting to become big. It was before influencers. It was before any of
Yeah.
that shit was still going on, and she literally wanted to be social media famous. She wanted to play the victim, which in this up until the last year or so, everybody always had this victim mentality and whatnot. So that movie was really, really ahead of its time. I think it came out in like 2010 or something around that time, and it was literally that movie was so ahead of its time. I freaking loved Scream 4. And then I like the other ones also. I'm
Yeah.
still kind of pissed off they killed Dewey off, because I love Dewey so much. David Arquette, shouts out to David Arquette,
Yeah.
but that was sad that they killed him off. There was a little
Yeah.
bit of drama in the, with the upcoming one because they, one of the actresses, we're not going to get into the reason why because it was political. I don't want to talk about
Mhm.
politics, but one of
Yeah.
the actresses basically made a political statement. And then Jenna Ortega, who was in movies 5 and 6, she backed her up. And then
Yeah.
they both left and they had to like rewrite the whole script. So it's going to focus more on Sydney, which is going to be coming back as a legacy character, which for the
Mhm.
record, I'm okay with. I like the newer cast of characters, but I'm always going to be an OG fanboy. So, like, I don't mind. I know a lot of people were pissed that the two girls aren't going to be back for this movie. I'm
Yeah.
okay with it.
I feel like I feel the same way when it comes to Halloween. Like if you bring back like one, uh, I mean, not Halloween. I mean, like, yeah, like you see how Michael Myers' sister, like you bring. I don't mind her coming back anytime. Like
Yeah,
like
same.
yeah. So, but again, like I don't know the runtime on this. Like how much time we have left on this.
We can go for another few minutes. We're at an
Okay.
hour and 30 already, but we can go for a few more minutes.
Gotcha. Yeah. So for me, like it's just I'm just like you. Like I love the story, like behind everything. So I feel like that's why when it comes to us reviewing like supplements, like especially when I just saw your last live stream with Robic, I heard his story and like the origin story of Apollo Nutrition and how all the stuff that he did. I was like, I didn't even know he was in MMA and he did all this other stuff. And, he tore his quad and like his wife now was the one that helped him like get back healthy and everything. And I was like, wow, that's something that I can align myself with. When it comes to a product, when it comes to a company that I'm going to waste my money on for my fitness journey. So that's something that I feel like is good all across. I mean, is part of us across the board when it comes to everything we talked about. And I do want to plug in one thing because since we are talking about a lot of horror stuff, if you have any trouble sleeping, you can go and try out the new Panda Sleep 3.0, the Sleepy Man. It's just dropped October 1st. You can use my discount code WFS for 25% off. And I know Ace is affiliated as well. And I have two tubs right here. So, Ace, as a little surprise, I'll be sending one your way because I know you have issues
Wow.
with the sleep. Um, I don't know if you like green apple or the mixed berry. Let me know.
Yeah,
What,
yeah, I'll let you know.
and then
Appreciate
I'll
that.
send it your way. Just because I know you have issues sleeping, but if you have issues sleeping from horror movies, then this is the best sleep aid, man. So that was my little cheap segue and little promotion to put in. But thank you for your time, Ace, for letting me come on your channel and just shooting the shit, man.
Dude, it's always a freaking awesome time. And guys, if you watch this video, don't forget to like the video, okay? And check out the video description. I linked Harry's information, his YouTube channel, premium supplement reviews. Give him a follow. He does good work. He breaks down the labels, his experience really nicely. And follow him on Instagram as well, okay? So definitely don't want to be missing out on that. And I think we're going to end it here. Any other plugs before we go? Anything else you want to
No, man. Just enjoy the ride because you only get one, man.
100%. Harry, thank you again so much. And guys, everybody that tuned in, thank you so much. I know we had people like tuning in and out the entire show. We went for going on an hour and 35 minutes right now. So I apologize if I didn't get to everybody's questions. I think I got to like 95% of them, but we are going to call it here. But we will definitely be doing this again. I had a lot of fun. We always have great chemistry and really appreciate you as a friend. Thank you, brother.
All right. Same here, Ace. All right. Bye-bye.
All right, bye. Take care, everybody.